Life is a ride. Life is a ride. Life is a ride. Life is a ride along. Welcome to the experience. Welcome to the journey. Welcome to the journey. A movement. This is Ridealong Live, where everyone has a story to tell. Welcome to Ridealong Live and welcome to this beautiful Tuesday. Yeah, man, welcome to the ride. As you're coming, guys, go ahead and share up the thing, put it on your page and say, I share it up. Share it like BFM. A lot of you don't even know what BFM is, right? A lot of you from, well, only people in Grenada know what's supposed to know what BFM is. Grow up on BFM, it used to be free milk. What? Share it like BFM. Hey, Sonia McKee John, you are inside first. Big up yourself, Sonia McKee John. Thank you for locking it on. Hey, thank you, Karine, big up yourself. Big up yourself, Karine. Doris Morin Charles, as you come in, just share and say I share. Doreen, as you come in, just share and say I share. Lydia James, how you doing? Lydia, Sonia McKee John. Sonia McKee John beat you today. Sonia McKee John beat you today. Rondell DJ Bookie, my homeboy. Yeah, big up yourself. I'm sharing and I'm starting some watch party as well. Starting some watch party over on my end. Guys, today we're having a very important discussion. I want all you put on all your investigative cap. I want all you put on all your legal hat. I want all you put on all your analytic cap. And let us talk today. I need everybody attention. I want all you to be, listen, if anybody calling you on WhatsApp or anybody calling you on any medium, just say, listen, I can't talk right now. I got to pay attention to this because this is a case I want all you help me with. This is a case I want all you help me with. DJ Bookie, you're in the right show because I know you're very analytic. I know you're a very analytic thinker. Eh? DJ Bookie, we need you on this one. Jem, big up yourself. Rondell, yes, I see you. Glenda, big up yourself. I want everybody put on the analytic cap on all your head. Take it and put it on all your head. I need it today. Trust me. Today more than any other day, I need all your analytic cap. Because listen to the situation, right? And I want all you to tell me the all illegal minds. Is this right or is this wrong? Here's the situation. A young man left Ghana, right? He came in to the Caribbean island of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. He came in to Grenada, presented himself to the Red Cross. He was then on asylum. He's an asylum seeker. He was then arrested and now facing deportation back to Ghana on asylum, right? So today, that's why I tell all you, I need all your analytic cap. I need all your analytic cap. I need all the brains that Ridealong have. I need it right now. I need everybody to tell me, and let's talk about this whole situation. Let's talk about this story right now. All right? I'm talking a friend. John Stroke, big up yourself. Afternoon to you, Hazel Ferguson, big up yourself. Afternoon to the family, Ridealong family. Sonia McKee, yes. I need all you. All right, so let me say it again. A young man left Ghana, West Africa, right? Came into Grenada on asylum. Now, the asylum, as you may know, when someone's seeking asylum, they're running away from prosecution. Whether they're running away, and I'm not telling you specifically that he was running away from a specific, if it's state prosecution or someone looking to do him something. He fled prosecution in his country, came into Grenada. Grenada received him. Now he's incarcerated for quite a few number of years. So today we're going to be speaking with his attorney. His attorney, who is very passionate about this case, and also the political leader of GEM, Grenada Empowerment Movement, Mr. Earl J. Maitland. He's going to be chatting with us here to sum up the whole thing. And of course, all you is my guest as well. Good day, Tevin Campbell. What the hell I keep calling Tevin Campbell? Tevin Andrew. I know you're tired of me calling you Tevin Campbell, boy. Sorry. I know your mother call you Tevin after Tevin Campbell anyway. You told me that. All right. Hey, Aisha, Deanna Winter Fundy. Deanna, I might need you to call in too. I might need you to call in too. All right. So here is, let us start. Guys, pay attention to this one. Pay attention to this one. I need every piece of brain in all your head. Tevin Andrew. Tevin, sorry. Oh gosh. You know the brain. When you get to that age, you know the brain does kind of how the brain does work. Tevin Andrew. Tevin, I need you too. Mr. Earl J. Maitland, sir, political leader of GEM and an activist. He's always present, always on call. Welcome to the ride, Earl. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Junior. Thank you for having me again.
All right. Okay, great. Earl, so I was telling all our viewers about the necessity for every piece of brain in their head right now. I need everybody to think about this situation right here. And I summed it up for them, but I want you to give me your summary of this particular case that we're going to be dealing with today.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a summary of the situation, Earl.
Okay. So, a pleasant good afternoon to everybody that's looking on, right? And what I do hope, I want to start off with what I'm hoping for. What I do hope after this program, we would have our Grenadian people standing united against this type of injustice. After listening to the facts that would be presented, the summation would only result in one thing, and that would be injustice against someone and a corrupt system that we must all stand against. Right? Before we do go ahead, Junior, please allow me to just define what persecution is, because this is what the gentleman is running from. And persecution is actually hostility and ill treatment. And
Right.
please allow me to define what asylum is. An asylum is the protection granted by a nation to someone who has left their native country as a political refugee. And everyone in this world, every human being can seek asylum anywhere at any time, right? And that is part of being a human being. This is one of our fundamental rights as human beings, the protection of life and so on. So this is what is happening. So basically, with that being said, what has happened is that one gentleman from Ghana was seeking asylum here in Grenada as he
Right.
was running from persecution,
Yes.
right? That gentleman showed up in Grenada. He went to the Red Cross building and he sought the assistance of the Red Cross officials. That was in August 2019.
Right.
So after doing such, and it is my understanding that the Red Cross is a legal replacement for immigration, for persons who are seeking asylum,
Right.
right? Seeing that Grenada has not signed on to that convention that deals with asylum seekers, although United Nations has recommended that they have done so a very long time ago, because Grenada has been recognized as a point where many refugees, many asylum seekers would be passing through. So the governments present and previous, they have ignored that recommendation made by the United Nations.
Right.
And this is where we are today. This is why we are having an issue. Now, this gentleman went to the Red Cross building. Um, he was not picked up on the streets. He was not brought into incarceration or into custody on the intelligence of someone. He actually went to the Red Cross building seeking asylum.
Right.
And the Red Cross officials, they were going to assist this gentleman. But what they did, nothing was wrong with what they did. They decided what we are going to do, we are going to inform the United Nations who is responsible for this particular action of this nature, because remember the Grenadian government has refused to
Right.
sign the convention. So they
Yes.
informed the UN, and they also informed the immigration department. And the immigration department, as we do know, are police officers, officers of the Royal Grenada Police Force. And they brought this gentleman to the Central Police Station
Mm-hmm.
where he was charged, right? This gentleman was charged for entering the state illegally.
All right, stick up in
So,
there, for a quick second, Earl.
yeah.
One, did this gentleman file for asylum prior to leaving Ghana? And is that the normal process?
Mhm. Right. So thank you for that question, Junior. Now, what I would say is when the gentleman came into Grenada, he informed the Red Cross persons that he was seeking asylum. He also informed the immigration department that he was seeking asylum. Secondly, Junior, now if I had any problems here in Grenada, right? If I had any problems here in Grenada and I
Yes.
was running from persecution, this
Yes.
is not something that someone plans, right? So
Right.
we do not have enough time, and we should not expect this gentleman to endanger his life any further just to send an application for something. So he came here and he was of the opinion that when he got to the Red Cross building, that the Grenadian people, the Grenadian government would be humanitarians, that they would understand what persecution is, and they
Right.
would be able to preserve his life.
Another question that came in here from Geraldine. She said he should have sought asylum in other African countries. Now, in the US, right? And the little that
Yeah.
I know, I have an attorney friend, Diane Winter Funde, who I often counsel or find a question in regards to situation of immigration or asylum issues. And I was asking her about issues that if someone was seeking asylum to
Mhm,
in the US, they
mhm,
would have to sort or make an application for asylum, right? And I understand you say seeking prosecution, then he might be fear for his life and the process and all that stuff. I completely understand that. But in the process of the application, he might be in a parish called St. John.
mhm.
The first thing that the US would ask you, okay, so you are being prosecuted in St. John. Could you move to St. Patrick? Or what are the other possibilities? And if you leave and you show up and you present yourself to immigration here, it is by discretion of the US authority to allow you, right? If you
Mhm.
just present yourself. So one, why didn't he seek asylum in another African country? Why he chose Grenada? And the third question is, were there any other recourse that he could have taken? Or he
Mhm.
just came in with the expectation that he would be received by Grenada.
Right. So, Junior, in order to answer your question, now, what really is an African country? Isn't Grenada an African country?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Secondly, now remember, we're dealing with fact, right? And the fact is the United Nations on page 3 of the 35th, I believe, the 35th meeting, the 35th session, where they had the UNCHR, they recognized Grenada, right, as one of those points where refugees would be turning out, right? So the gentleman coming to Grenada, I cannot speak as to the gentleman's mindset, but what I would say is that if I was seeking or about to seek asylum to run from persecution and I was living in Grenada, I would not run to Carriacou or Petimatic. I would try to get as far away as possible. But yet again, I cannot speak to the gentleman's mindset. I can only speak to the facts that are in front of me, that this gentleman has been incarcerated
Right.
since August last year. Um, Even with that being said, Junior, now according to the Constitution of Grenada, Chapter 1 of the Constitution, it says, whereas every person in Grenada, and then it goes down on to Section 8, Part 2C, it speaks about a fair trial when someone is being convicted of a crime and so on, right? And this has not happened. This gentleman has not been given that liberty as a person in Grenada, right? Because based on what we are hearing, right, is that this gentleman, after being brought to court and charged for entering the borders illegally, because they are saying he did not go through immigration, right? They are saying that they brought the gentleman to court the next day. He
Mm-hmm.
did not have a lawyer with him, right? He did not have time to file defense and so on, according to the laws of our country. And this gentleman was sent to Her Majesty's prison. Based on what I understand, he was sent to Her Majesty's prison on the same day on an 11-day remand. And during that period, the court was supposed to do its investigations to find out if the gentleman was actually taken from the Red Cross building,
Right.
right? Just to prove the legitimacy of the gentleman's articulations, right? But this has not happened. And this is why we are so disturbed by what is happening in the system. Because we have laws that stipulate processes, but they are not being adhered to by the persons in authority, right? This gentleman, I found out about this gentleman, Junior, 9 months after his incarceration. He was still in Grenada. There is an attorney, Miss Erica Willis, who's also a humanitarian and doing a fine job at it. She took up the case, and I am frankly tired of seeing Miss Willis having to go to the local media and speaking about all the obstacles that she is facing.
Yeah, we
Although,
have we,
you
we
know,
have an interview with her as well, Earl. But I want to take it very slow, meticulously slow, right? Because he has a lot of moving parts as it relates to this particular story. And I understand there is a lot of emotion that might come in there. A lot of people asking why Grenada, and all of that stuff. I'll refer to a question that is posed by Deanna Winter Fonde. She's an immigration lawyer. That's the person I told you that I often get
yeah.
immigration questions from. She's saying he should have been given the opportunity to make an application for asylum.
Mhm.
All
And that
right.
is correct.
Right. And if that is not the case and he present himself, it
Mhm.
is at the discretion of the state. Right. It is at the discretion of the state. Now, Grenada is not a signee to the convention,
Mhm.
correct?
Mhm.
So what ultimate decision, or what other decision could Grenada have made than the decision that was currently made? They said that he presented himself illegally into the island. Isn't that
Mhm.
true, or is that not true?
I would say no, Junior. I would say that this gentleman went to the Red Cross building,
Uh-huh.
and the Red Cross is supposed to deal with asylum seekers, seeing that the governments, present and past, have refused to sign on to the convention. Asylum seekers are not something that just happened in 2019 or 2020. This has been going on for decades,
Right.
right? So it's not something that they were not aware of. Remember, I said that this gentleman was not picked up on the streets of Grenada. He was
Uh-huh.
not found. He presented himself, right? And according to the attorney, Ms. Diane, she's correct that there is a process that should be followed. And this gentleman should have been granted such a process where he could file his documents and so on and present his case. But instead, that did not happen. And what concerns me even more, Junior, is the fact that even though the government is now saying that they filed a deportation order for this gentleman on the same day that he went to court, which was, I believe, August 7th, 2019. Although the borders of Grenada were only closed on March 24th, 2020, that gave the government a period, a 9 month period, to get this gentleman out of Grenada and send him to a country that has signed on to the United Nations Convention for Asylum Seekers. But what they chose to do is what concerns me the most. They sent this gentleman to Her Majesty's prison without any conversation, right? And this is something that could happen to any Grenadian, because if we are taking persons from international basis and doing such to them, what would we do to our people if the international bodies are not looking?
Right.
This is the
Okay.
problem.
Now, I completely understand. And again, every single one of us
Hmm.
could be in a position where we need to seek asylum,
Hmm.
right?
That is
You might
correct.
be, if you might be in Grenada right now, and whatever prosecution that you, whether it's political prosecution or whatever
Yeah.
the case might be, and you
Hmm.
can't move to any part of the state that you enter, you still have problem. You might want to seek asylum wherever, and you probably wouldn't want to go to Trinidad. You probably want to go as
Yeah,
far as
as
possible.
far as possible,
And
right?
I
And
understand.
let me just add something now to the Public Service Commission and informed one of the highest officials in the Public Service Commission of my trials, of my persecution here in Grenada, caused by the Grenadian government. And I was told by that official that I should seek asylum, right? I was told by the Public Service Commission that I should seek asylum. And this is in my country, right? Now, there's a gentleman here who in turn came to seek asylum. Now, as I said, asylum is for every person, every human being who is trying to avoid persecution,
Right.
right? We need to be fair about these things. We have a lot of Canadians who have migrated, not necessarily sought asylum, but they have migrated. That is why we have so many persons living illegally in different countries because
No, I
of
understand that. And the
circumstances.
question still come back. It still come back to the original question. And I completely understand the asylum. I
Mhm,
completely understand that each one of us could be in that same position.
mhm.
But I'm looking at the law of a particular country, right? And the
Uh-huh.
legal process and
Yes.
what is to be done in certain situations.
Uh-huh.
The question still stands. Did
So,
he enter
Junior,
the country legally?
if we're looking at the law, let us rule out the fact that the government, according to the Constitution, the supreme law of the land, had to allow this gentleman to have a fair trial according to Section 8 of Chapter 1 of the Grenada Constitution. He did not have a lawyer, he did not have an attorney, he did not even have sufficient time to provide a defense for what has happened. Instead, what this gentleman did, this layman did, was go to court and say, listen, I came from wherever and I went to the Red Cross building and I'm here seeking asylum. And this is what the gentleman did. Now, if this gentleman was Caucasian, would he still be locked up? If we are speaking about the laws of Grenada again, the Immigration Act, Section 36, says that the penalty for entering Grenada illegally is 6 months incarceration and $3,000. We are now 1 year later. 1 year later, the law says 6 months. On whose authority is this gentleman still at Her Majesty's prison after the stipulated period that the law allows? So who is
Right.
breaking the law?
Right, I understand that. Okay, let's open up the phone lines, guys. I want your voice on this. 718-701-5720. I'll put it up, the number up on the screen. 718-701-5720. I tell you, I need you guys on this because this is a question of I guess integrity. It might be a question of emotion. It might be a process of just, you know, should you, it's a lot of things, a lot of questions that could be asked in the situation of passion. The question is, the young man left Ghana, right? Seeking asylum, ended up in Grenada. How he got into the country, whether he came by, well, there's no direct flight, as someone was saying, from Africa to Grenada. He must have had to take connecting flight, and however he got here, I don't know, and I don't know the details of that. But he got here to Grenada. He presented himself to the Red Cross, which was the right thing in that situation. He did not present an asylum application, You said that he didn't have the time or opportunity to do so, and that's understandable. Someone calling from Trinidad and Tobago. Let's take the call and then I'll finish up. Caller, you live. Where are you calling us from? Hello? Okay, the caller hang up. Next call. Caller, you live. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Brooklyn, Junior.
Brooklyn, New York. Go right ahead. What's your take on this?
Yes, I personally believe I see Africa as my mother country, my motherland, and they are part of we as a Caribbean people.
Right.
You know, but my question is, I would like to know what is the crime or what is the offense that he commits that he has to be running. And Africa is so far from Grenada. How did he get to Grenada? We have no direct flight from Africa to Grenada. So he would have passed somewhere else prior to getting to Grenada.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And the question still stands, Earl. How did he get to Grenada?
Yes, and Earl isn't answering the question. I would like Earl to answer the question for me. If he knows, how did he get to Grenada and why Grenada? Mind you, as I said, I have no issue with rescuing him because it could happen to me.
Right.
I've seen a lot of people go to England, go to Germany, seeking asylum, and they got asylum. Yes, I do understand the government is going against the law based on the books because he should be there for 6 months. And after he would have served his time for entering illegally, then give it to him based on the condition that he's running. If it's something that he needs to pay the penalty for, send him back and pay it. But if it's something that you could, overlook and give him grace, give him grace.
Yeah. All right. Caller, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much, caller. Earl.
Right, Junior, if I could just respond to the caller.
Go right ahead.
Now, as I said earlier, I cannot speak to the gentleman's mindset why he chose Grenada.
Right.
Right? What I am concerned about is that the gentleman is now in Grenada and he has sought asylum in Grenada, and persons in Grenada are breaking the law. Now, based on my knowledge, as I said, the United Nations was apprised of the situation based on the United Nations resources that they have used and their investigations. They sent emails, correspondences, and recommended that this gentleman be treated as an asylee, as a refugee, right? Until it's finally the pending is finished, it's completed, right? I am not the United Nations. I do not have the resources that they have. I am not the Grenadian government. I cannot call the government in Ghana to find out what persecution this man is doing. But based on my understanding, the United Nations, the UNCHR in Washington have used their resources to do such a thing, and they have said, or they have recommended to the Grenadian government to allow this gentleman to remain and to be treated like a human being in our country, right? This is what I'm concerned about, that our laws have been breached, that this gentleman was not given a fair trial in court, and this is the situation. Again, I cannot speak to the gentleman's mindset as to why he chose Grenada. Secondly, Junior, I did make attempts to go to the prison, Her Majesty's prison, right? And I did also make attempts to speak to the Attorney General of Grenada while I was stuck in Antigua, and I found out about the tragedy, because this is a tragedy. This man would not be getting back any time from this lengthy incarceration, right? The Prime Minister's office, I sent a correspondence to the Prime Minister's office. His secretary responded and acknowledged the email, and I allowed the Prime Minister to know this is what is happening, this is what is going on. That was a few months ago. To date, I have not received anything from the Prime Minister, who is the Minister of National Security, right? Now, what I do know is that if Grenada did, in fact, issue a deportation order on the said date, on the same date that the court hearing was, since August 7th, 2019, that this gentleman should have been out of Grenada and passed on to a country or the United Nations where his asylum process could be honored. But what I do know is that this gentleman still remains in Grenada, incarcerated over the 6 months that the law allows.
Okay.
Right? I do hope I answered the question.
Partially. Let me jump on an interview that we had with his lawyer, Miss Willis, Erica Willis. So we got a chance to talk to Erica Willis, and we posed some questions to her. Here, listen to her response to some of our questions. This is Erica Willis, attorney for the young man. Check it out. So joining us to give us some more insight and information on this story is attorney Erica Willis, who is the current attorney representing the Ghanaian man who we were speaking about earlier, who left Ghana and ended up in Grenada seeking asylum. Ms. Willis, welcome to Ride Along Live. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, there's a lot to be said, a lot to try to understand about this particular topic here. But first, let's talk about the young man. How did he get into Grenada? What specifics could you give us on that?
Well, only specific basically I can give you is the fact that he came to Grenada to seek asylum. And of course, when he entered Grenada, he went directly to the Red Cross office. He did not go anywhere else, just waited to speak to somebody.
Is that the normal process of someone that's seeking asylum?
As far as I'm aware, yes. Asylum seeker usually seeks out the Red Cross office, or alternative, the United Nations office. Most people know that both organizations go together.
Right. On arrival to the Red Cross office, what were the response and what did they do?
Well, straight away he asked, or he told the individual he would like to seek asylum. And of course, because he came to them, the organization is mandated, they're obliged to contact A, the immigration office, and B, the United Nations. This is what they did.
Right. Any specific as to why he chose Grenada? I mean, Grenada is a far throw from Africa. Any specific as to why he chose to travel that far into Grenada? Did he have family, or what was his relations?
No specifics. He does not know anyone here other than through myself now because of this. Grenada is known worldwide for its hospitality of outsiders. This is all I've heard from individuals. As far as Australia,
right?
But you must also remember the Caribbean. 80% of us, our ancestors are from Ghana.
Yeah. How and what point of it did you find out about it? How did you get in touch with that young man?
How I found out about him, actually, I came to the assistance of another asylum seeker and was told of another gentleman who's been incarcerated. Sorry.
No problem.
Who has been incarcerated for over 9 months. And then Earl Maitland called me and said to me, somebody who had left the prison came to him about the same matter, and could I assist this individual? Hence, that's how I got involved.
Were any laws broken in terms of his arrival here? Did he follow the processes or the process that's established by the United Nations or the Red Cross in seeking asylum?
Yes, that is the normal procedure because this is in this time, the 21st century, there's asylum seekers across the world. There's many displaced individuals and even human trafficking. So this is the procedure that in every country where the Red Cross or the UN is situated, individual would go there and the organization, be it the United Nations or the Red Cross, would contact the country's immigration department.
Right. Okay. So when that process he came here and the immigration were notified, what would be the normal process then?
The normal process is for the immigration to be notified, take all his details, then contact the United Nations. Then the United Nations, because Grenada is not a signatory to any asylum seeking laws, the United Nations has stepped in this country. So what would happen, the Red Cross and or the immigration office would contact the United Nations, and at that stage, the United Nations would determine if this individual is a genuine asylum seeker. I must say, the United Nations, sorry, at this time of day, my phone goes mad.
No problem.
In this instance, I must say, I contacted the United Nations in around March, April this year, and they interviewed my client in prison, and they've deemed that he fits the criteria for an asylum seeker.
Is it mandatory that Grenada accept him, or is based on discretion by the immigration and the government?
Grenada is not under any obligations at all. The reason for this is because they're not a signatory to any laws. And actually, Grenada is the only one of 5 states within the Caribbean that is not a signatory to any laws at all. They're not going away.
Yeah.
So because they are not a signatory, neither have they enacted any laws within Grenada itself.
Right.
Because even though a country signs a convention, that does not mean they are obliged. The obligation starts when they have made laws within their own country.
Right. So I know. No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
So basically, Grenada has no laws within the state, the Spice Isle state, to deal with asylum seekers or human traffickers. Neither have they enacted or has any policy or procedures to deal with these sort of situations.
Right. And so what the normal procedure, as you spoke about earlier, didn't go through that normal procedure. So what did Grenada do? Because we now know that the young man is incarcerated at present and awaiting deportation.
Well, to say that is awaiting deportation, everything's on hold because the court system, the legal process has started. But basically, he was charged with illegal entry. So basically, even though he has persisted all the way through that he's an asylum seeker, he was still charged with illegal entry to Grenada.
Did he enter illegally?
I'm his counsel, and as far as I'm aware, no, he's not. I've based that on the fact that there has been, in the past 3 years, there's been 5 asylum seekers entering Grenada. They have used the same process as this individual has done. That is to say, he's gone to the Red Cross office, who are mandated to contact the immigration, and this is what they did. But in this instance, rather than enacting the procedure for asylum seeker, the individual was taken to court and charged with illegal entry.
Yeah. So to date, what have you done in the process of overturning that decision?
Right. We went to court, that is the state and my client, in July. That was based on the fact that my client has been protesting from day one that the magistrate gave him 11 days for the state to investigate his allegation that he's come to seek asylum. I personally myself was in discussions with the Ministry of Legal Affairs, and I got the impression that although that a deportation order was in place, it was suspended. So on that basis, and because I was in discussion with them for over 4 months, and I was not getting anywhere, I issued a writ for him to be released. That could not be done because the deportation order is in place. So of course, what the court has done, they have put a date for us to return to court. That's on the 22nd of September. That would permit me, and I have filed already, an application to revoke the deportation order. The court also said it would give the parties, that's of course myself and the state, to sort out accommodation. So in my view, although there is a deportation order, the court believes it should not be in place.
Okay. Okay. I see. Based on where the case is at the moment, do you see that the order might be overturned and he would get stay, or do you think that the state has a good case in the deportation at the moment?
As far as I'm his counsel, I don't think they have a good case. It's beggars belief why there is a deportation order on this gentleman. He's followed the normal procedure by entering Grenada and going directly to the Red Cross to seek asylum. He did not abscond, he did not run away, he went straight. Is allegation, I'm saying allegations because this is what the state is saying, has been verified by the Red Cross office. They've confirmed that this gentleman came to them and he was handed over as per normal to the immigration.
Right. Okay. Well, we're going to be looking closely at that. Yeah.
case.
So that was the interview with the lawyer in this particular case. Guys, we're going to open back up the phone lines again. I want you guys to call. We still have with us Mr. Earl Maitland, who is the uh, political leader of GEM. And he is here telling the story for the gentleman who is currently incarcerated. Earl, I think by unanimous decision, I think that if you've been following the chat and see what had been asked, people still want to know, how did he get to Grenada? Did he came to the airport? Did he go into St. Vincent and then come on a boat? How did he get to Grenada? Hold on, you're muted. You're muted, Earl. Unmute.
All right. So what I would say, Junior, is the fact that the gentleman arrived in Grenada, right? He is here in Grenada. He went to the Red Cross building. I saw someone asking, how did he get to the Red Cross building if he was not, if it was his first time in Grenada? Now, to answer that question, what I would say is, the first time I went to Barbados, I did not know what the embassy was or where anywhere else was. It was as simple as asking a question from when he entered the place. There are certain things that cannot be said in the public, and this is why
Okay.
the gentleman's attorney would be speaking the way that she is speaking, right? We are all professionals here. As I said, there are certain things that cannot be said. What we do have to look at is the
Right.
fact that the government of Grenada is incarcerating somebody for a longer period than our laws allow. What we have to look at is the fact that the Attorney General's office has stated publicly that a deportation order has been approved, it has been filed. And that was since the day the gentleman went to court. That was in August 2019, August 7th, 2019. We had a deportation for this gentleman. This gentleman remains at Her Majesty's prison over 1 year later, right? The government of Grenada has had ample time to deport this gentleman. They had August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March until the borders were closed. Let us also remember that even though the borders were closed, there were flights that were leaving and coming to Grenada. Right? This gentleman could have left Grenada, even if the government was in its right senses to hold this gentleman for entering the state illegally. The law says 6 months. That would have given the government of Grenada 3 months to deport this gentleman. 3 months to deport the gentleman. But they have not done so until we found out about the situation. And then miraculously, a deportation order came up for that date. Could it be a case where the government has just made up a document? No, I have been looking from Antigua at the happenings in my homeland, the place that I love. And there is a family that invested $500,000, right, in Grenada, in one of those resorts. And they're represented by a young professional, a young lady who is their lawyer. And that lady, that lawyer, that attorney at law, has said to the people of Grenada that she has gone to the registry and every other place looking for documentation for a company that was said to buy over the people's property. And she did not find any information at all, right? And after coming to the people of Grenada on social media, miraculously, once again, documentation was presented by those in authority for that particular business,
But it's also
right?
fair to say that have nothing to do with this particular case. It's two
No, it
separate.
does not. But it does show that we have persons in authority who do have a track record of creating documents at convenience, right?
Right.
We are all aware of what is happening. We are all aware. Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Although this case is to deal with an asylum seeker, whatever injustice anyone is allowed to get away with, that would create avenues and the false belief that they could provide, that they could present that injustice elsewhere. And this is what is happening in our country.
Yeah. Randall, DJ Buki said here, refuse asylum seekers. And he stated in one of the watch party that a person whose asylum application has been unsuccessful and who have no other claim or protection awaiting a decision, some refuse asylum seekers voluntarily return home or forcefully return. And again, we have to understand that any one of us could be in this young man position. All right. And I know that we've been asking the question. I've been pressing the question as well, how we got to Grenada. And someone asked the question, but why does it matter how we got to Grenada? Uh,
Exactly.
if you are sitting in St. George's and you have a hit on your head and someone is looking to come for you, you are gonna flee. And you are gonna flee and probably go as far as possible to seek a safety for yourself and your family. You
Mhm.
might fly, you might pull up on a boat, however you might seem to get away from the immediate threat. That's what you would do. So I understand. And I ain't trying to push the fact as to, how he got here, did he fly, did he come in illegally? But we all have to also appreciate that in every jurisdiction they have laws, right? In every jurisdiction, even when the folks are trying to cross the border from anywhere, whether the country decide to hold them at the border or accept them in one by one or issue them permanent residence or whatever they choose to do, that is by the discretion. But if you break the law the law will prevail, right? So the only recourse here, that what I'm trying to find out is, was anything done illegally by the government as to take away this person's human right? If that is the case, then we need to question, why was his human rights why wasn't his human rights taken into consideration? So did Grenada break the law in terms of what's on the books?
So,
Let's address
Junior,
that one.
so if we're speaking generally about human rights, right? Do we not have a right to a proper healthcare facility? Right? This is nothing new where the Grenadian government continues to break the laws. Look at the situation with Silver Sands, that building that was illegally constructed, erected by the Grenadian government, by the authority of the Grenadian government on the Grand Banks Beach. Look at what is happening in Las Adres, where Grenadian citizens are being refused to go to the beaches. Right? We have ministers in government who are not fulfilling their duties and the laws according to the Integrity in Public Life Act of Grenada. So this is nothing new. As I said, the gentleman has a constitutional right based on what the Constitution says, whereas every person in Grenada, as far as I do know, that gentleman is a person and he is in Grenada. So therefore, he has a right to a fair trial. He has a right to prepare a proper defense, right? Now, how can someone have a fair trial if they do not have an attorney and they do not know the law and they were brought to court and convicted on the same day? If this is what the government is saying, if the law says that this gentleman should be held for 6 months and he is there going on 13 months, has the government not broken the laws of Grenada? This is the issue that we're supposed to be looking at, right? This is what we're supposed to be looking at. So it's very obvious that they did break the law because, I mean, 6 months as opposed to 13 months is a big difference. We have a difference of 7 months that somebody is being held. Now, I saw in the chat that someone is saying or making the excuse that Grenada does not have a detention facility. So this is why the gentleman should be held, right? At Her Majesty's prison. How many of us have been to Her Majesty's prison to know that that place is not for human beings? Would we send somebody there who is trying to escape persecution at the filthy facility that we have up there?
Right.
This is craziness.
Okay, here is a question that might be a topical one in talking about maintenance of that individual, right? That person, we got clear evidence from yourself and the attorney that he does not have any relative or family member in Grenada, correct?
No, he does not.
Okay, all right. So would he then become a burden on the state?
He would not become a burden on the state because donors or sponsors, I should say, have volunteered to give this gentleman a job. Remember, the United Nations has made the recommendation based on their investigation that this gentleman should be afforded, right, the status until they continue whatever they're doing. So someone has come forward and they have said that we are going to give this gentleman a place to stay. Someone has said we are going to give this gentleman a place to work. The Red Cross normally assist, and they are willing to assist. They are going to assist with food and clothing, right? So it's not a burden on the state. What is a burden on the state, Junior, is seeing the number of cases where our prime minister decides to bring people to court. We look at the case with Gemma Bean Thomas, where she has been wrongfully removed from a job and so on. This is the case where we should speak about burdens on the taxpayers, but this is not one.
Yeah. How long? I mean, forget how long that he would be maintained for. But was an affidavit of support signed? Does the government or the immigration, were they presented with an affidavit of support saying, okay, this person will support him, or this person will maintain him, or give him unemployment, take care of him? Was that presented to
Yes,
immigration?
it has been presented to the relevant authorities. They were informed months ago, right? What we tried to do, Junior, seeing that this has happened, approximately 4 months ago, we found out about the situation, right? What we actually did was try using moral suasion. There was no reason for, there would have been, sorry, no reason for anyone, right, to come to social media and say, this is the situation. The letter that I wrote to the Prime Minister was just a letter to the Prime Minister. There was no reason to publicize if the gentleman decided to do his job, right? The fact that this gentleman is at the prison, a place that we have for convicts, right, after the time is ridiculous. I have made the recommendation that we have Camp Celine down there, which is heavily guarded by trained officers of the Royal Grenada Police Force. This gentleman could have been held there until such time, whatever it is that the government is waiting for to release this man or deport the man to act on their order, right? That is the issue, Junior.
Yeah. Let's take one or two more calls. 718-701-5720. And I want everyone to take this in the backdrop that there are a lot of Grenadians and Caribbean people that are living in places like the United States, Canada, and England that are not documented, right? Hence the reason why we have a program here on Wednesdays trying to get people documented and paying taxes. So when we talk about people being a burden to the state, I want us to take that into consideration, that we can really, be so upset about that plea, because there's a lot of people living here in the United States right now who don't pay taxes, who don't have a green card, and who are living here as undocumented. So take that into consideration a bit, right? And I want everybody to understand that. But still, at the same time, um, that doesn't make it right, right, Earl? It doesn't make it right because Caribbean people are living in the United States illegal. That the Caribbean supposed to accept everyone and just let them in if they break the law of the land, because there are heavy sanctions here where ICE, with immigration enforcement agencies, they have been going out and picking up people and deporting people in droves. It has been happening here. So every jurisdiction have the right to protect their borders and deal with situation as it relates to immigration matters. We got a call on the line. Caller, where you calling us from? All right, that person got cold feet. Yeah. So Earl, the other question I wanted to ask you is, if there was a flagrant the law has been broken, why isn't the lawyer at this point in time unable to get him out of prison? What's the problem?
Junior, have you seen even the president of the Bar Association, the lawyers in Grenada having to turn to social media to get laws implemented?
So I didn't hear the question.
Have you noticed that everyone has to go to social media to get the job done?
A lot.
Right? We have had even the Bar Association, the group of lawyers that we have in Grenada, having to go to social media to get things going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it. I know it. I understand it. A lot of
The
people come on.
system doesn't work basically. It does not work, right? The law, Junior, what we need to do is look at the law. Let's look at the law and the execution of the law, the application of the law. Now, even during the times when there was a lockdown, right? Some persons were told that they need to stay inside while others were outside partying, having virtual shows and so on, right? The association factor of the fundamental rights of Grenadians, it was taken away for a certain section of people, whilst others were able to exercise that, right? So this is how it is in our country. This is how it is. I hope I answered your question, Junior.
Well, indirectly, and again, that specific concept have nothing really directly to do with the situation of this young man getting asylum in Grenada. But I understand the correlation that you're trying to make and the point you're trying to bring. What next, Earl? What's next for this young man? Are we looking to get him out? Are we solid on support? Are they looking to deport him? Are you pushing for deportation, or are you just pushing for having him assimilate into the Grenadian community?
What I am pushing for, right, is the fact that our laws can be honored. Whatever the law says, it should be done. Now, what you should notice, Junior, at no point in time have I said that this man should be granted asylum, right? At no point in time have I said anything of such nature. What I have been speaking about is that our persons in authority follow the laws of the country, allow the law to take its course, allow the due process. If the law says that this gentleman should be afforded a trial, or this gentleman should be interviewed by the United Nations, then let that happen. Let the investigations of the United Nations continue. If the law says that the United Nations can make a recommendation and that recommendation should be adhered to, then let us do that. But the prison, Junior, is no place for a person who has completed a 6-month sentence 7 months later. If this is the case, if the government wants to argue that this gentleman has been incarcerated for 6 months because he entered Grenada illegally, his time has passed. Let us honor the laws of our country. Are we going to deport the gentleman, or are we going to leave him in the prison and allow him to rot for the rest of his natural life? What is it that we're going to do? Now, what I do know is that the attorney, right, is doing the legal aspects of it. As she said, they have to return to court, right? But what I would like to see is that the government, the people in authority who are being paid to execute the laws of our country, do not use their discretion, or their authority to advantage anyone.
Mm.
That is the need. right, Junior? And what I will also say is a simple case where, now, if I was being attacked by someone with a gun or a cutlass, Junior, and I ran into someone's home, right? I broke into someone's home to save my life. Should I be arrested and charged for housebreaking for trying to save my life?
Right, and that's a pretty good assessment of the situation. But you know what? You will be taken in. You might be taken in into custody to find out your reason.
Yes. And
Right.
due
And due
process should
process
prevail.
to
I should
prevail.
be given my time. No,
Right.
this gentleman was only able to speak to the United Nations 10 months after, 10 months after he was incarcerated. Right, Junior? He was supposed to speak to the United Nations, the UNCHR from Washington, when he came to Grenada and said, I'm seeking asylum. They were supposed to be informed and he was supposed to be able to speak to them. Why has it taken 10 months for this gentleman to be interviewed by the UNCHR? Is it because there was intervention by the lawyer and other persons? What would have happened to this gentleman 10 months and going?
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna keep following the story, Earl. Very interesting discussion, by the way. And I hope people start paying attention to a lot of these laws. I myself have to look into a lot of the asylum laws and immigration laws of Grenada because I think I know a lot more about it here. Because Attorney Diana Winterfunde, who's going to be on tomorrow, she speak a lot about asylum and deportation and immigration for the whole hour on Wednesdays. So I guess we need to kind of get more information on how it works, how it functions in Grenada. But I want everybody to understand this, right? Um, we, a lot of us, came into the United States. We came here. Some of us came through the borders of Canada. Some of us came through JFK, and we just decided that we ain't coming back. Probably we didn't come on as asylum, but we came and we just decided that we're gonna stay, and then we create a life for ourselves over here, and then afterwards, But for the period of time before we get our papers, a lot of us, and yes, I'll say it, including myself, I was living here without papers for a while, and so I feel the brother's pain, right? That if he's seeking asylum, Earl haven't told us because of legal reasons why he had to leave. He didn't detail the reason for his prosecution or potential prosecution or alleged prosecution.
Persecution.
Prosecution. Prostitution. That would be wrong. So that was not established. But the fact is, we understand that a lot of us went through this stuff here. And the question still remains, should they allow him to stay? Because he has persons who would accept and support. He have affidavit of support. Or should he be sent back? And then what does that mean? And how would the UN look at that? Would that be a violation on any UN charter? There's a lot of questions that need to be asked. I think there's a lot more that need to be. Dion, I didn't say prostitution, all right? It was a slip of the tongue. There's a lot more that need to be asked here in this situation, and there's so much more I think that we need to pay attention to, Earl. But we thank you for bringing it to the fore here and Ride Along. Any last words you wanna leave with before we wrap up?
Yeah, Junior. The last words. What I would say is, we never know where we would end up, right? We might end up in a situation where we ourselves might be in that gentleman's shoes and we would have to seek asylum elsewhere. Situations like these, we should put ourselves in the situation, right? And imagine how it would feel to have a loved one in that same circumstance, or even ourselves for that matter. How would we feel? Would we really make a joke out of the situation. You know, we would. It's very disturbing. Some of the comments, Junior, very disturbing. But um, I will remain, humbled and professional about the situation. I just want to urge the people with the selfish and ridiculous comments to take situations like these very seriously, because it could happen to us at any point in time. So, Junior, once again, thank you. And I want the people of Grenada to actually look at what is happening in our country. Um, this is a gentleman who has been incarcerated. The prison, I used to teach at the prison. The prison is not a place for an asylum seeker, right? We have had many bodies, local and international, including myself, who have gone to the prison and spoken to the persons in authority about the conditions of the prison, right? It's definitely not a place for an asylum seeker. Again, I will publicly make the recommendation that the people in authority take the gentleman who has been approved by the UNCHR from Her Majesty's prison, from that filth, and put him in a place, for instance, which is heavily guarded, like Camp Saline, put him in a place like that, right? Let us allow the law to prevail, right? If we do have, or if we are not willing to facilitate someone who's running from persecution, let us pass him on to the next country that is willing to do the humane thing. We should not be having this discussion. And I really hope, I truly hope that we do not have more cases like this. I really hope that the Grenadian government can learn from this situation. Right, Junior? Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Thank you, Earl. And we saw a taste of it during the peak of the situation in Venezuela, where a ton of Venezuelan migrant was fleeing to Trinidad, and they had to make the decision. And the
Mhm,
government of Trinidad registered quite a
mhm.
few Trinidad
Yeah.
Venezuelans,
Mhm.
and they got a lot of backlash for that as well. But we have to understand sometimes uh, a lot of our say our people, and he's our people. We're Africans. We identify with Africa, so there's a lot of compassion that have to come into it as well. I firmly believe, be it what it may, at this point, there should be some level of compassion, and the gentleman should be allowed to stay, right? You're not going to send him back, but that has to do with the laws that's on the books. But I think that laws could have always be overwritten. If it mean, I mean, you're not going to send the man back to Africa knowing that he's going to be prosecuted on whatever grounds, right? So we're going to keep following it, Earl. Again, thank you so much for joining us and bringing the story
Yes,
to the
Junior.
forefront. All right,
Right. Take
yeah,
care.
guys. We want to get your views on it. We're going to continue to follow the story. I'm going to continue to keep you guys abreast on the story as well. And I'm sure that you could check in with Earl Maitland on his page. He's going to be following it up. And we're going to follow up with Miss Willis, the attorney at law, Miss Willis, to get all the updates, right? But you guys been great. I've been following everybody's comment. You guys been great with some of the comments. I mean, some of the disrespectful ones, but there was some good comments as well. All right. Let me tell you guys about this, because we're gonna follow this also on emoji.com, guys. Yeah, emoji.com. Let me tell you what emoji.com is. We're gonna start posting updates on this story on emoji.com. Emoji.com is a new social media platform, right? A brand new social media platform. This is my login area here. So when you go into emoji.com, spell EMOOGE.com, that's what it looks like. So you're going to EMOOGE.com, that's on the screen. That's what it looks like. So let me navigate you through emoji a little bit, guys. Quickly. So you go into the wall or the post, and you see what members are saying. It's just like Facebook. It's just like almost exactly like Facebook, but they have some more stuff that Facebook don't have. We add some new stuff in there. Trust me. We see all the posts and all the things and all the things and all the things, everything there that's on there, your post right now, and that's where your post comes up. But here's what's really nice about emoji, right? Here's what's really, really cool about emoji. The best thing about emoji that you don't see in a lot of social media platform. We have a store, and the store have tons of stuff. tons of items that you could purchase. But get this, you don't need money. On Emoji, you don't need cash to purchase stuff. Every time you post, you get points. See right here, I got 1,300 points. 1,300 points. That's how much points I have. So I could just go into the store right now and I want to check out something. I want to get some stuff. I want to get this mask right here. Boom. I'm going to click on this mask and I'm going to purchase this mask without using my credit card. Good mask, 5-layer mask. It's good to go. Boom, boom, boom. Add it to my cart. Boom. Add to my cart and I'm going to go check it out. And check this, guys. Check this. I want you to look at this, right? I want you to look at this. Keep looking. Keep looking. Don't even blink. Don't even blink. I could go into the store, put in my credentials and information, and voila. I just click with pay with points. Pay with emoji points. And I could check this out here without spending a dime. I don't want to use my credit card. I'm going to use my points. So how do you get points? Very simple, guys. Bear with me. Watch this. Watch this. How do you get points? You get points by simply posting. Posting. Whatever you post. You could say hi. You could greet someone. Whenever you enter, whenever you sign up to Emoji, automatically you get 10 points. And you post stuff. You just post stuff. You post stuff. How easy is that? You post stuff. You get points. You use your points to buy stuff. Meet friends. Message people. But get this. If you spam, they take away your points. So guys, don't spam. You find new members, find new friends, message people, join new groups, get interactive on emoji.com. That's EMOOGE.com. Emoji.com. Do you emoji? Wicked. This program is brought to you with the kind compliments of emoji.com. I want you guys to check out emoji.com. Check it out, check it out, check it out. It's wicked. It's real bad. It's real bad. A lot of things, guys, over on emoji.com. There's a lot of new friends that you can meet over on emoji. Everyone check out emoji.com. Get your points. And on Fridays, you know, we have the Right Trivia. You get points from Right Trivia as well. It's emoji.com. EMOOGE.com. Let me pin it. EMOOGE.com. For those of you who don't know how to spell it because it's not spelled the regular way, I'm going to tag it right on the bottom there. It's spelled EMOOGE. EMOOGE.com. That's emoji.com. I'm going to pin it right there so you guys could check it out. It's emoji.com. Guys, when you get in there, I want you guys to tag me or find me on emoji, right? Send me a friend request. Ian Baker, I think I saw you on emoji. I think I saw Spice Baffy too. Everybody's over on emoji, guys. It's emoji.com. Check it out right now. Guys, tomorrow we have immigration with Fun Day. Immigration Fun Day. Answering all your questions right here on the ride. Peace out, guys. Catch me tomorrow. Tomorrow. Have a blessed day. Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Yeah, Ian, you could go live on the platform, man. You could do everything. Look out for Emoji TV coming up as well. Emoji TV. Emoji TV. Thank you, guys. I want you guys to comment on the story on emoji.com. Let me know what you guys think about it, okay? Very sensitive story. It's not a joking matter at all. Peace out, guys. Catch me again tomorrow. Have a great day. Hey, I got some good news for you. Looking for a passionate immigration lawyer with experience that spans over 2 decades? Someone trusted that served immigrant families just like yours? Well, look no more. Now you can benefit from her personal and professional experience. Diane Winter Funde. Schedule a consultation now and get assistance with your immigration journey. Specialize in adjustment of status, B1 business visa, B2 visitors visa, consular processing, deportation defense, naturalization, and more. Give us a call today at 813-815-3529. That's 813-815-3529 or online at winterimmigration.com. Attorney Diane Winter Funde. Law done differently.
You're constantly thinking of food, but sometimes you just don't want to cook or want something a little different. That's when you call Tasties, preparing meals that you really love. Tasties, our mouth-watering food would have you coming back every day. But hold on, We only prepare meals Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for now. Call early because we have a lot to serve and we would love to serve you. Tasties, we prepare the meals you love to eat. From macaroni pie to baked chicken, provision dumpling and saltfish, stewed chicken, curry chicken, baked chicken, rice and peas, salads, and more. Please call for daily menu. Call 425-0624 or 403-0411. You can pick up your meals from us or we deliver to you. Tasties, food that's delicious.
Guys, also, if you want to advertise, you got a business and you want to get the word out, advertise on Ridealong Live. Yeah, advertise on Ridealong Live. Call for more information and get your business viral. Send your business viral right here on Ridealong Live. Call 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Or inbox us at Ridealong Live. Got a business, an online business, a brick and mortar, whatever business you have, send it viral right here on Ridealong Live. Advertise, very, very, very affordable advertising rate available. Inbox us right now at Ridealong Live and ask for our rate sheet and start the advertising right now. Remember, it pays to advertise right here on Ridealong Live.